It is the year 1939. With tensions growing increasingly worse between Germany and Poland, General Emil Krakowicz, commander of the Polish Modern Army, was directed to defend the Polish northern border. As part of the plan, he formulated a plan to counter any German aggression. The border laying next to East Prussia and defense of this region was vital due to the belief that if invading German forces breached the defenses, they would target the Polish capital Warsaw. In the lead up to hostilities breaking out, the Poles strengthened the defenses in the area, building fortification and reinforced concrete shelters, much of it centered around or close to the town of Mlawa. The commander of the Modern Army elected to try and conduct any defense as far north as possible, ignored the natural defense lines of the Nerew, Bug, and Vistula rivers, and instead planning to confront any German invader directly on the border with East Prussia, the Lidzbark-Mlawa-Krynów-Lodzi line. Essentially, he planned to repel the Germans before they gained any sort of foothold on Polish soil. The main Polish forces allocated to conduct this defense was the 20th Infantry Division, with the left flank of the division being shielded by the Novograd Cavalry Brigade and the right being defended by the Mazovian Cavalry Brigade. Additionally, elements of the 8th Infantry Division were stationed at Chinavo and called upon if needed. With the outbreak of the war on 1 September 1939, the Mazovian Cavalry Brigade commanded by Colonel Jankards found themselves under attack by the German 12th Infantry Division, led by Lieutenant General Ludwig von Lein. Part of the Mazovian Cavalry Brigade, the 11th Regiment of Legionary Uhlans, found themselves fighting in the area of Chorzel and Krynów-Logamala, as they saw to protecting the flank of the 20th Infantry Division commanded by Colonel Litzka to prevent German forces circling around behind them and attacking from the rear. The Poles had a mixture of units in which to conduct the defense organized into battle groups and detachments. They had a variety of troops, artillery pieces spread out amongst them, a company of sappers and a platoon of cyclists, and they focused their defense on covering key points in this area, like the road junction in Krynów-Logamala, to block off German attempts to maneuver around them. It wasn't long before the German 12th Infantry Division and units from the German 1st Cavalry Brigade, commanded by Colonel Kurtfeld, clashed with the Polish defenders. The 2nd and 4th Cavalry Squadrons, led by Lieutenant Adam Solziewski and Franz Zitzek, managed to hold off the German attackers for 4 hours, before conducting an orderly withdrawal to a new defensive position, helped by accurate supporting fire from one battery of the 1st Horse Artillery Squadron. In the village of Rambilen, the Polish 1st Cavalry Squadron held off the advancing Germans for an hour and a half, supported by accurate fire from the Uhlans' No. 1 anti-tank battery, which destroyed several German vehicles and hampering their progress. In the village of Zembrzus Mokry Grant, a few kilometers from Jano, a patrol from the Polish 4th Squadron of the 11th Infantry Division, led by Lieutenant Vladislav, clashed with German forces which were already in the village in strength. Heavy machine gun fire from the Germans, which included a patrol of motorcyclists, forced the Poles to withdraw to the nearby forest. Throughout the rest of the day, skirmishes continued between the two sides, including a clash with German cavalry. A rare example of a cavalry versus cavalry skirmish in this war took place in a location known as the Royal Forests. The commander of the patrol, Lieutenant Kasikowski, described the cavalry exchange in vivid detail.
At the end of this journey, on the edge of another clearing, we saw a detachment of German cavalry. They didn't see us, but they were standing in our way somehow under the sun. I asked my own, "Are we charging?" In response, I hear the saber being pulled out of the sheets. Not being seen, we lined up wild and screamed out of the woods. The surprise was complete, but the charge was accepted, only that our momentum was greater. We actually passed each other. I remember that Corporal Jakiewicz attacked a German on a lance. We galloped in our direction, and the Germans in our own. We were all not very conscious of the emotions of fear.
Several men were killed and wounded on both sides, with the Poles also capturing a prisoner. That evening, Kasikowski led his cavalry off the battlefield, transporting a seriously wounded Uhlan with them. The Polish units could feel pleased. They had successfully hampered and delayed the German advances. The Germans had failed to break through the defensive line in this area, although their main effort was directed towards Mlava. The Poles had taken a few dozen killed and wounded, with the Germans probably suffering similar losses. The Poles also lost an artillery piece and 3 vehicles were destroyed, with the Germans losing about a dozen of their own vehicles. The next day, the Poles pulled back to a new defensive line stretching across the villages of Rudno-Jeziorowe, Lodze, Lanietie, and Drazdzewo. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about our latest videos.